Yoza, I am the great MJada, and welcome to another recap show. We're here to recap SVG WAR 36 from Montego Bay, Jamaica, that happened just this past weekend. I am the commissioner of the league, the great MJada. Joining me, as always, the SVG fight analyst, the Weasel. And Weasel, what's going on, buddy? What'd you think of the card this weekend?
Man, it was an amazing card. It was stacked. We had a lot of action-packed fights. And I think it's good to mention some of the fight card awards. Performance of the Night awards go to Loganov and Solanik. Fight of the Night will go to Zhao and RD. KO of the Night will go to Smook Hendricks and his crazy head kick KO. And then Sub of the Night would be CY's 7D's reversal into the Von Flue choke. So.
Yeah, you know I went crazy for that one, Weasel.
That was insane.
I went crazy.
So big congratulations to those guys.
Yeah, they were all a hell of a great job, and we'll get more to each one of those guys as we move on a little further in the show. But as always, we're going to take it down from the top. So Weasel, he did it again. The Moroccan Lion, 6-0, captures the title in epic fashion with a big knockout over our undefeated former champion Boo in the second round. He hits him with a crane kick, knocks him against the cage, finishes up with big shots. What did you think of the Moroccan Lion's performance?
Yeah, Lion does it again, earning another championship. It's going to be interesting to see how long Lion can hold on to the belt this time. He has a big challenge coming up next fight in Loganov, but Lion was able to earn his 6th consecutive knockout, all looking rather easy, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how long he can hold on to the belt this time.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we saw him do it before. He was a two-time champion UFC 4. He once as Bad Bully, and then once it was ousted that was him, he came back and did it under his own name as Rocky. And you know what? He got a couple defenses under his belt too as Bad Bully. So he went on a good run. It'll be interesting to see if he can duplicate that kind of success here. There is a lot of killers in the league right now, and a lot of them want to take his head off. So let's see if one of these up-and-coming guys can do it.
Yeah, it's exciting to see.
Well, in the co-main event, we thought maybe we would have a barn burner, but it was not like that at all. Instead, it was one-way traffic as Loganov dominated for almost one complete round as he chokes out Triggy 4 minutes and a half into the first. And Weasel, wow.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm not extremely surprised by the performance that Loganov put on just because of Triggy's weaknesses. But Loganov was able to put on performance of the night, earning a first-round sub-victory over Loganov. Loganov is one of those guys, in my opinion, poses one of the larger threats to Lion currently, who is sitting in the main card scene right now. So when he's getting a shot at Lion next card, it's going to be exciting to see how that matchup goes.
Yeah, well, both former champions, Lion the current champion, but Loganov a former champion himself, so he knows what it takes to get the title. Very well-rounded guy, great striking, great top control when he takes you down. He'll be tenacious with the takedowns. So, yeah, tough match for anyone, and he's got the next crack at the newly crowned champ. And that performance tonight was incredible. Triggy was on a great little streak coming into it, 3 fights in a row by knockout. And Loganov kind of showed a little bit of a chink in his armor. So Triggy's going to have to hit the training room and work hard on that, because you know everyone's going to attack him that way now based off how devastating he's looked on the feet. So it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back in his next fight as well.
Yep.
Well, all right, not bad. In the feature fight, coming off another win, he's been on a little bit of a streak. Guts gets another one in the can as he has a masterclass of his own. Now, there's only 2 performance of the night bonuses that can be handed out, right? So if there was more than that, Guts might have got this one too, Weasel, because he was on fire as he picked apart Murphy for 3.5 rounds before he finally found the knockout.
Yeah, Guts has looked extremely strong. His only setback recently at being Triggy, and Triggy, he's shown how dangerous he is. Guts is shown to be one of the hottest fighters in the league currently, and was able to continue his run towards the top with a KO win over Murphy. Guts has definitely got a big fight coming up. I think his style is crazy, and how patient and technical, and how he can just break you apart. If you're not patient, you'll get behind the fight, and there's no catching up against a technical fighter like Guts.
Well, yeah, Guts is just like his archetype, he lives up to the name. He is an absolute sniper with those shots. He will find the big shots and he will put them on you. Great footwork, all the good stuff. He's fighting at a very high level right now. And you're saying that there must be a big fight coming up for him next. And there is, because the guy's won, 3 fights in a row by knockout right now. 6 of his last 7 by knockout. He's got the most wins currently in UFC 5 already with 8 wins, all of them by knockout, so the most knockouts as well. He's doing it real big. If it wasn't for the fact that Loganov is on a 4-fight win streak of his own, Guts would be fighting for the title. So yeah, he's got a big fight, and I'll tell you what, the guy he's fighting actually, Weasel, fought right before, and he fought against me, so I know firsthand as Hoo was able to get a pretty comfortable decision over me. 3 rounds, 5 minutes apiece. Weasel, what'd you see?
Yeah, Hoo was just able to earn a decision victory over you, MJ, in a fight that people have been asking for years. I think that's just a minor setback for you. Losing to Hoo obviously is nothing to hang your head on, but I think Hoo is one of those guys that he's so multi-versatile and he's so well-rounded. He poses a threat to just about anybody in this league. What are your thoughts on that, MJ?
Well, that's obvious. I mean, Hoo's been a mainstay in the SVG league from UFC 4 to now again in UFC 5. Former champion. He's been in the top 5 consistently since he's been in back in the league in UFC 5. And this is a fight again. Yeah, a lot of people wanted to see for quite a long time. We both knew we were going to fight each other one time because we were always around the top together, but it had never happened as of yet. It got the chance, and he was just better than me on the feet that day.
Right.
He was quicker, and he started hitting me. I tried to get some takedowns. When I did, I was able to have some success. I was able to get half of his submission bar out of there with a nice arm triangle reversal. And then the last seconds, I almost had the flying rear naked choke. I was fighting to the last minute. He clearly scored more points in the 3 rounds, no debating that, but at the same time, I wish that was a 5-round fight, because I still had fight left in me, and I would rather see something definitive between the two of us. One of us either go to sleep or get tapped out than,
right.
Judge's opinion. But with that said, no excuses. He was the busier guy, and he scored more points, so salute to Hoo. He'll be taking on Guts next, and that should be a hell of a fight on the next card.
Absolutely.
All right, well, the first fight of the main card set us off with an outstanding pace. I mean, the dark matches, the prelims, the early pre's, they all were fantastic too. But once we got to the main card, you want your first fight to be a doozy, to really suck the energy up and everything like that. These guys delivered. Smoochie and Night Legacy went toe-to-toe until Smoochie was able to find the knockout with only 30 seconds left in the third.
Yeah, this fight was complete non-stop action. One of the better fights on the card, I think. It was an extremely fun fight to watch. The Smoochie was able to get himself back on track with a KO win over Legacy and a surprising striking battle. I figured Legacy would attempt to grapple more than he did. I know he grappled a little bit in the second round, but Legacy tried to stay in there with Smoochie, and eventually Smoochie got the better of him. In a back and forth fight, though. Very competitive battle.
Yeah, well, both guys had hurt each other a bunch in this fight, and both guys, like, Smoochie at time could have calmed down a little bit, where it seemed like he was up, but then he'd go for the kill and put himself in the fire, and he'd get hurt. And then Night Legacy would look like he's up, and then he'd put himself in the fire. They were both going for it, and they made a hell of a fight happen. A great way to kick off the card. Smoochie gets another knockout. I think that's his 7th knockout he has in the league. Maybe one behind Guts for the most overall in the league right now. So we know Smoochie's as a KO artist, and he got another one. And good for him. What can you say? But man, that was it was going to be hard to top that one after seeing that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, right before that, we had a surging contender kicking off the main event of the prelims. Dave, he moves to 4-0 as he finds another stoppage win on a beautiful spinning back kick as he takes out Reezy in the 3rd round, 30 seconds in.
Yeah, Dave has looked really strong. Dave was able to extend his win streak to 4, like you mentioned. And he has shown very little weakness, in my opinion, since coming here. He got a 3rd round KO over a former title challenger in Reezy. He's really just been putting the league on notice. It's one of those guys that has shown very little weakness, at least on the feet, from what I've seen. And I'm sure he's probably pretty well rounded, but it's going to be exciting to see where he goes next.
Well, I mean, it's very telling that we haven't seen too much of him on the ground because no one's even been able to get him there and do anything with it, right? It's just he's boxed the face off and kicked the face off of everyone he's fought. He's looked fantastic. He's been cutting through the competition like a fucking buzzsaw. And if he had signed up for the next card, he would probably be fighting in the main event against Guts for the next title shot. The guy's, been absolutely on fire. And he looked fantastic in this fight against Reezy. He was picking him apart. You could see he was looking for a pretty KO. But Reezy's, he's good. Even though he was getting beat up, he hung in there and he didn't give up anything too big. And then, eventually he ate that spinning back kick, and it was just too much for him to take as he crumpled.
Right.
But great fight, but what can you say? Moving down right before that, though, we had a great grudge match. These guys were talking a lot of shit together in the Discord especially. They were going back and forth. There's a friendly little rivalry there. As Jigsaw, looking like a fucking buzzsaw as he cuts through Mickey Tyson halfway through the second round.
Yeah, this is a very fun fight to watch, as Jigsaw was able to taunt his way to a second round KO stop and stop the bleeding from the losses recently. He just looked strong. There in the second, he really took over and he taunted his way all the way to victory, in my opinion. So great job, great work on Jigsaw's part.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where it looked like he could have jumped in and maybe finished the fight earlier. Usually, you say that's what you should do. You know what I mean? You want to jump in and finish it, because if you give anybody a chance in this league, you're playing with fire. They can come back and kill you. But with Mickey Tyson, he didn't give a fuck. There was a little bit of a personal vendetta in that one, and so he made it stick around a little bit until he eventually put him away with a big hook, and then out of the clinch, and then some shots against the cage. So great job by Jigsaw to bounce back to his winning ways as he puts out that Mickey Tyson scoundrel in a vicious fashion.
Yep.
Well, Weasel, tough spot for you maybe to talk about, but we got to move on as Jiggly J gets it done against you in quite comfortable fashion. In just 4 minutes into the fight in the first round, Jiggly J finds the knockout. Weasel, what were you seeing and what do you remember?
Yeah, Jiggly put on a striking clinic against myself. It wasn't close. I think I need to get in the lab and make some adjustments on my game. But Jiggly, however, has looked really strong as of late. He took down Zhao in SVG WAR 35, and he beat up on me in convincing fashion this card. So congrats to Jiggly J. I'm sure he's moving up, and he's going to be looking to start putting the league on notice and getting back into the main card scene area.
Yeah, Jiggly J to me is one of the most underrated guys on the roster right now, where you see he's not ranked, but this guy was one of the top guys in UFC 4. When the league finished, he was like next for the title shot. So he's had mixed results here so far in UFC 5, but when he's looked good, he's looked really good. And lately, he's looked really good. Got a couple big wins over Zhao and yourself, as you said. Both pretty comfortably, especially this one. Again, not to be rude, Weasel, you're my boy, but it was a bit of an ass whooping. It was one-way traffic. He put it on you, and you got out of there in short order. So good job by Jiggly J. And he's got a big fight on this next up-and-coming card, fighting up one of these young up-and-comers. And the winner of that one's definitely going to get a boost right up the ranks. So it'll be interesting to keep your eye on Jiggly J.
Yep.
All right, well, right before that, another one of many big fights on the card. We had Joker taking on Gorilla in yet another fight where there was big talk in the Discord about this one, where these guys were both kind of trying to let their nuts hang in front of everybody and said, we're going to meet in the middle, and the first one to step away is a sissy. It turns out Joker can take a little bit more than Gorilla could, as he puts Gorilla away in short fashion, just a minute and a half in.
Yeah, it was a fun fight to watch. Joker put together a good performance. Both guys are just standing on a dime in the middle. It's just like whoever had the biggest set of nuts won.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. There's not a lot of other ways to say it, is it? They were right on top of each other.
Yeah, you can't... I don't know if you can get any closer than what they were. They were just right on top of each other in the middle of the ring, no backing up, and Joker was able to walk away victorious and kind of put a stop to Gorilla's run that he's been on.
Yeah, it was a weird thing because Gorilla was, looked good 2-0, had 2 knockouts, and then to fight in that fashion and to lose his 0 in that fashion, it was a bit surprising. But as you said, it was entertaining. It was the definition of all these analogies that we have, all these little nicknames for it: the standing on a dime, the fucking sitting in the pocket, slinging dogs, all this shit. It was all that, fighting in a phone booth. They were right in front of each other, just slinging power shots. And Joker hit Gorilla with a few more, and Gorilla couldn't take it and went down hard.
And I think that's funny because that's neither one of their style, their primary style. They don't normally do that.
It's like they were both still in the feeling the high from the Max Holloway knockout with Justin Gaethje. They said, let's just do a whole fight of that. Let's just stand here and just try to kill each other. It's like, because that's all they did really, is swing. And I guess props to Gorilla for when he got hurt. He stuck with it. He stood there and kept stringing. But yeah, Joker got himself a knockout. Good for him.
Yep.
All right, well, the very first fight of these prelims was put together on short notice. Samalenka had a fight with Pressure Bull. Pressure Bull had to pull out for personal reasons. Hope he gets better and comes back soon. I'm sure we'll see him on the next card or the one after that. But Salonik was down to step up on very short notice and take on Samalenka. And you know what? He made it look easy. No disrespect to my boy Samalenka. It's been great watching him fight here, but he didn't put up much of a fight against Salonik in this one. Salonik, he just took him down and subbed him instantly, Weez.
Right, and this was a fun fight and a good test for Salonik, in my opinion. He was able to take the opportunity on short notice and put on a performance of the night. And with a first-round sub over Salamanca, he's moves to 2-0 now, and I think he's ranked currently because of that win. And so if it wasn't for CY, who got sub of the night, Salonik would have definitely gotten sub of the night as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You said you think he's ranked. He is. He took that number 18 spot at 2-0 as he slipped in short notice and beat Samalenka, who was right there himself around the 20 spot. So, yeah, it was interesting. Samalenka was 2-0 coming into that fight, and he had looked good in both his fights. And Salonik, we only saw him fight once, so it's hard to judge a guy off one appearance. But if you judge him off his second appearance, this guy is going to be a problem. He looks like he's got really good takedowns, and he's got really sharp jiu-jitsu to go with it. He had a nice takedown. He had a nice denial game from on top, drained the stamina, and he hit him with the one shot. He got all the stamina out of there. He had his stamina high, locked in that submission, and it was over in 1 minute. That might be the fastest submission that we have in the league, at least in UFC 5. I can't remember all the way back to the UFC 4 days. I'd have to check the archives. But for UFC 5, I'm going to say right now, I guarantee you that's the fastest submission we've had so far.
Yeah, I would agree. He put on a masterclass performance there.
Yeah, and that would have been worthy of a submission of the night. He ended up getting performance of the night, and understandably, it was a 1 minute fight. I don't think Salamanca landed anything. I'm pretty sure Salonik got on his back, took him down, arm triangle action, over.
Right.
So performance of the night, salute all the way to him. But yeah, it was a crazy submission despite not getting that. Another great fight though was the main event of the early prelims. Two guys that have been fighting on the main card. I mean, both have fought for the title at one or another time in their career. LDT rather recently, he fought against Goated not too many cards ago. Hashi back in the day, a pioneer from the league. So they met up as the main event of the early prelims, and LDT got it done in a little bit of a grudge match in the second round. Weasel, what did you think of that one?
Yeah, it's LDT was able to get himself back on track with the KO win over Hashi. It's going to be interesting to see if LDT can put together another run towards the top. You had mentioned he fought for the title not too long ago, and he's down here in the early prelims now. It's going to be something to see if he can get back on track and get back up towards the top again, because he is a high level fighter, in my opinion, who is dangerous, especially this far down in the card.
I think that's a testament, though. Like, if you look at a match like this and you see these guys are main eventing the early prelims, I mean, that's a testament to how good the league is. These guys are Division 20 players if they want to be. I don't know if they play ranked, but I know they did back on UFC 4, they were Division 20 all the time, and not just that, but exceptional players. So I've played against them. I know the level that they're at, and if they're all the way down there, no disrespect, it shows you how strong the rankings are right now.
Exactly.
Because these guys are fantastic, and they put on a fantastic fight. They both hurt each other, but ultimately LDT did a little bit more, and he won the battle of my sons, and now LDT is my favorite son now. But no, great job by both guys. You don't have to say much about these guys because they both love to fight. They're both two guys that never miss. They always get you their fight quick, and they get it done, professionally and all that. So I know when they lose they'll be back, and when they win they'll be back. You don't even have to worry about that. They're a couple of killers.
Exactly.
But another couple killers fought right before that as the KO King decided to get active again. Last card he came out and he had himself a good win, and now he bounces back and makes it 2 in a row as he knocks out Baba Yaga in the first round, 4.5 minutes in. Weasel, what'd you think of the fight between KO King and Baba Yaga?
Yeah, KO King looked in control of much of this fight as Baba Yaga was just unable to find his range and get any real offense off early on. And KO King was able to capitalize on that, and KO King is starting to put results together, and he's a stiff opponent. So it's going to be exciting to see where he goes next and how he performs.
Yeah, KO King is one of these guys that when he came into the league, there was a little bit of hype behind him because everyone knows he has a fun style. And then, he fought Smoochie in like his first fight, and he got a win over a guy like Smoochie, who's right now up in our top 5, top 10, like habitually. So it shows you the level of this guy. He had a little bit of a mixed results, but he's been putting it together lately. That's 2 back-to-back wins, and in this one, he looked rather comfortable. He showed, I think, the experience difference between him and the young fighter Baba Yaga showed, as KO King was able to do a little bit more, a lot faster, ultimately getting him out in 1 round.
Right.
Yeah, great fight though. It was a lot of fun. It was a good effort by both guys. Baba Yaga's a young kid. You need these lessons to level up. Give him no time and he'll be back. Speaking of 2 other young fighters though, Wheezy, this might be the 2 youngest fighters on the roster right now. As Bosmir taking on Little Lion. Bosmir getting it done in exciting fashion. This wasn't quite as crazy as Joker versus Gorilla as far as stand on a dime goes, but it was close. These guys were slinging bombs in the pocket as Bosmir knocks out Little Lion 2 minutes into the first round.
Yeah, we're starting to see quite a few first-round finishes this card after having none last card.
Isn't that crazy to go like that? One card you have none, and then the next one we have as many as we do. Yeah,
it's exciting. But Bosmer, in my opinion, kind of walked all over Lil Lion. No disrespect to Lil Lion at all, and he got a first-round KO in a dominant performance. Bosmer's looked strong so far. He's 3-1. I know he's going to be looking at a step up in competition coming up. It's going to be exciting how he handles that.
Well, yeah, I think he does have a step up in competition coming up. I got the kid next. The kid has looked fantastic. He's 3-1. He gets to fight a guy now that's been a bit of a 500 fighter, but with more experience. And it'll be interesting to see how he does in his next fight against me, because in this fight he looked fantastic. Little Lion has looked really good as of late, and Bosmir trumped him earlier. He got him out of there in 2 minutes flat, and that's not an easy thing to do. So big power by the young buck, and yeah, I'll have to mind my P's and Q's come next week if I want to be safe. And by the way, Weasel, just for the record, 8 first-round finishes on this card.
Damn, that is an insane number.
How is that for a swing of things, eh? From
0 to 8.
From 0 to 8, it gets crazy. Now, next one was not a first-round finish, Weasel, and understandably why, as we had, again, 2 very technical fighters taking it on right before. Chant gets the decision win over Alex as they go the full 3 5-minute rounds.
Yeah, Champ is starting to build a hot streak, and he grabbed a decision win over Alex in pretty convincing fashion. Alex had his moments, of course, but he's looked strong. Champ has kind of flipped the switch. He's started to build a win streak, and it's going to be exciting to see where he goes. But also, Alex is no slouch. Alex, in my opinion, is much better than his record currently shows. He's fought some really high-level guys since he's joined the league.
Yeah, it's true. He's fought guys that, in hindsight, you can see that are very tough. Like Champ right now has put together a little streak. He looks a lot better than his record is showing right now, especially over the last couple fights. But Alex also, he fought CY in the past, who we know was a very tough guy, and I mean, we'll get more to him later on in the card or in our breakdown here. But he has fought these guys that are highly touted that are not necessarily highly ranked yet. So it's been a rough start for Alex, but he's one of the few that's looked really good even in his losses. You know, he's not out here getting finished easily and run through by people. Whereas Champ, he's been on a really good streak lately, Weeze, especially over the last couple. I mean, he's been a Vanguard showboat mix, if you will, in the sense he's using a Vanguard, but he's fighting like a real life showboat. Like, he is taunting, he's doing cartwheel kicks left and right, all this craziness, trying to be super entertaining. And meanwhile, he's winning the fights too, pretty dominantly over these good challengers. So very good to see from Champ what he's been doing. Hope to see a lot more from him. And yeah, Alex, we already covered that. Good kid. We'll see him again, young buck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, well, one more fight on the early prelims. It was the first one, the feature fight, or the first fight of the early prelims was Smook Hendricks, as he got a beautiful KO over Hypes, knockout of the night. I mean, talk about a perfect kick.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Smook was able to play patient and land those body kicks on Hypes, which would eventually set up that insane head kick knockout to earn himself a KO over the night. Smook is one of those guys, man. He's 3-1 now. He's kind of in the same boat as Bosmer. He's looked strong. He'll probably be getting a step up in competition. We'll see how he handles that.
Well, he's exactly like Bosmer in that sense. He's another 3-1 fighter now. He got another win under his belt, and he will have a very good fight coming up in his next fight. He'll get another mid-tier veteran right now. But in this fight, man, they were going back and forth, both landing good shots. Smook was hurting him a little more, but they both did land good shots on each other. At one point, though, Hypes was sort of against the cage, and he decided he was going to try to lunge away his back off the cage. He lunged right into a head kick, Smook looking like a young Mirko Krokop, and he started dancing as that boy was falling to the ground.
The two-step.
Picture perfect head kick with a beautiful emote celebration on the way down. Big salute to Smook Hendricks. That was beautiful. Knockout of the night. What more can you say?
Right.
You know, tough break for Hypes. It sucks to go out like that. I'm sorry, kid, but you know, sometimes it happens. This is the game we play. Speaking of the game we play, Don DeJuca, Milkman, they put on a little bit of a show. Don DeJuca got himself a beautiful knockout in the last seconds of the second round. Literally 1 second left in the second round. Hits the teep kick down the pipe, putting Milkman out cold, Weasel.
Yeah, a competitive fight for the most part. But Don DeJuca was able to extend his win streak to 2, and he's one of those dangerous fighters, man. He's so flashy. He can catch you off guard if you're not careful. So I know he's fighting Mickey Tyson, so that's going to be a fan favorite for sure to watch.
I'm very excited for that fight because these are two guys that have fun techniques to watch, but are both very reckless. They use a lot of stamina, like quick. They're not patient fighters at all. You know, they both have a ton of skills. So I expect a beautiful car crash when these two fight. But Don has looked really sharp as of late. You know, he has 2 wins in a row. Both of them are stoppages. I know he's very happy about that. He came in 0-3, and that sucks. You know, no one wants to be 0-3, but instead of getting sorry for himself, he just worked hard, and now he's got a couple of wins, and I know he's going to be looking to even up his record on the next fight. This fight, he looked sharp. They were going back and forth. He was controlling the fight, and Milkman's a tough kid. Milkman had some moments, but ultimately Don kicked him in the last second. Milkman didn't keep his guard up the whole time. You know,
right, exactly.
1 second left, he should have been blocking. Instead, he got kicked in the face and put to sleep. So,
and one more note on Don DeJuca. I think he's done a better job of containing his stamina and holding that energy in. So I think that's a good adjustment he's made for his game as well.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it wouldn't be hard to do. I mean, the guy throws probably a faster pace than anybody else. He's one of the few guys that have no problem throwing combos with like no stamina at all. He will throw until he has nothing left for defense, and that's, you know, you lose your energy fast that way, not to mention get hurt big time when you get hit. So big part of why he started off 0-3, but you just shore it up a little bit, tighten it up a little bit. But hey, the same thing can be said about Mickey Tyson, so the next fight will be very interesting to see that. I can't wait. Should be fireworks. Shout out to both Don DeJuca and the Milkman. They put on a good fight, but yeah, Don got a great knockout.
Yep.
All right, well, another fight that ended up being very interesting. Not the original fight scheduled. We had to pull out. M11 steps in on short notice. Former SVG champion. What a stud muffin. As he took on this young, up-and-coming, highly touted kid named Smith. And you know what? Smith rose to the challenge. Because he took the fight on short notice, too, if you think about it. It wasn't the opponent he was pairing for. All of a sudden, he's got a former champ in front of him. And he finds the knockout in the third round.
Yeah, Smith gets a surprising big step up in competition. You mentioned he's M11 as a former SVG champion, and he came up in a big way. A competitive fight. It went back and forth. But I am seeing that Smith takes a while to warm up. He's patient that first round, kind of gets a read on you, and then he lets it fly in the second and third. So He came up in a big way and now extends to what I'm pretty sure it's 2-0 now. So I'm sure he's happy about that, and he'll continue moving on up. And I'm excited to see where he goes from here.
Well, yeah, a lot of talk was about this kid Smith, about how should be one of the better players, a young kid coming up that's going to be getting better and better and better. How many people do you know that beat a former champion in their second fight?
There's not many. I'm sure that's a very, very short list.
Yeah, so the kid did what he was supposed to do in his first fight, and as you said, he might have lost the first round, or it was very close in that fight. It's almost like he took the first round off and then turned up in the second round, put his opponent out. Does the same thing here. In this fight, he gauges in the first round, then the second round turns up, takes control of the fight. Third round, puts it away. Beautiful job by Smith. Very exciting, huge for the weight class. There's just a lot of stuff to like about this guy right now, and it's very interesting to watch. As for M11, again, another guy you don't got to say too much about. The guy's forever a champion, so it don't matter. He stepped up short notice, took on a young buck. He'll take on. He took this fight in 1 hour notice to save this kid's opportunity. So maximum respect to both guys, especially M11.
Most definitely.
Great job. Another guy that's very highly touted, kicked on right before this though, Weasel. Figgy 2 times, got it done again. He got a first round knockout over the Stove God.
Yeah, Figgy absolutely dominated this fight. I don't know, there's not much to say about it, especially on the ground. Figgy just looked more well versed on the ground and was able to pound Stove God out in 1 round. Figgy's one of those guys, man. He's well rounded. He looks dangerous. He's a good fighter. It's going to be exciting how far he can make it up with all the stacked talent that's above him currently.
Well, yeah, this is another guy that it's very interesting to see, because he's a highly touted guy. He's doing what he's supposed to do in his first couple fights. Look, if you come here and you're supposed to be this really good guy, you should have no problem in the beginning. I mean, there's an off chance you get matched up with another highly touted guy like that, but for the most part, you got to work your way up to the tough competition, and he's running through these guys in the beginning. I mean, he beat Stove God so bad the kid retired. He left the league after this fight. No disrespect to Stove God, but he probably recognized that shit. If there's guys fighting at this guy's level, what chance do I got to be a champion? You know what I mean? Because Figgy, you can tell, is here to make a run for the title. And this young going early on, for sure. 2-0, he wants to go to the top. Hard working kid. Can't wait to see what he does here. It'll be very interesting. I think there's a lot of fun fights for him coming up, including his next matchup that he has. So
exactly,
I think there's a lot of these guys that are very interesting. We were talking about Jiggly J earlier, his next opponent. I mean, this is the young up and comer he gets. Tell me that's not going to be a great match.
It's most definitely going to be a match. They're both tough opponents, and I could tell you firsthand on Jiggly's part.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. You know better than me, so there you go. Great job by Figgy. Can't wait to see what he does. But moving right along before that, not to be biased, but I'm a bit of a fanboy for this one. Zhao comes back in beautiful fashion. And what a fight he got. A fight of the night performance with RD. But it takes two to tango, Weasel. So as much as I got love from my boy Zhao, big shout out to RD. Because he wasn't scared of Zhao. Like, Zhao got the tough guy reputation. RD did not give a fuck. He came to fight and he came to win. And he was kicking Zhao's ass in the beginning until Zhao was able to turn the table later and eventually get the knockout late in the second round.
Yeah, this fight earned themselves a fight of the night bonus, and as you mentioned earlier, and it's this far down in the card, and it got fight of the night bonus. Awesome little fight. It was back and forth, like you said. RD was able to just beat the shit out of Zhao. Zhao was able to turn the tides and tell the doctor to screw off, Dr. Shithead to screw off, and get a KO late in the second round.
Yeah, lots of drama. Lots of drama. Whenever Dr. Shithead comes in, it's like, uh-oh, it's tense, right? We've only had one ever stoppage by the DAC so far, so usually he's pretty cool, but nevertheless, we don't like to see him. With that said, we did have a little visit from him because there was a major cut opened up. And as I was saying at the beginning of the intro of this fight, RD came to win. He didn't come into this like, oh no, that's Zhao, I gotta be careful because he's so good. He said, fuck this guy. He came forward and he threw big shots and he repped himself very well. It's a losing effort, and RD's had a rough start, to say the least, to start off, but man, if you're fighting like that, you got no worries. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful attempt. He almost got it done. Salute to RD. And a big salute to Zhao, who did get it done, who went through the wear and tear, found the shot, and kept going and eventually put him away.
If you're gonna lose, I would rather lose a fight of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. What's a better way to lose than to lose getting an award for fight of the night,
Exactly.
If all the other awards, I'd rather get that than lose the knockout of the night or the submission of the night type of thing. I'd rather lose to a fight of the night for sure.
Right?
Well, great fight it was. Now, talking about performances, Weasel, I'm gonna go on a little tangent here. Talking about performances, CY versus Gen by Murder. CY gets the submission in the second round at exactly 3 minutes. In my opinion, the most beautiful submission I've ever seen in SVG League history. Keep in mind, this is a guy who won the title with a flying omoplata. I love this submission that CY did because I don't think most people even knew it was there. He hits the Von Flue reversal. Gen by Murder goes for a guillotine, and exactly at 3 minutes into the second round, CY reverses it to a Von Flue and puts him to sleep. Weasel, I lost my mind.
Yeah, this is definitely something I have never seen before. The Von Flue choke, I haven't seen that on a reversal. It's insane to me. But the result kind of surprised me. Jen has shown that he's kind of a ground specialist, and that caught him off guard, and it earned CY the submission of the night. It's going to be exciting to see where CY goes. I know he's highly touted and very talented, so it's going to be exciting to see where he goes.
Yeah, super highly touted guy. Jiu-Jitsu looks off the fucking chain. The submission is so beautiful because we've never had a Von Flue landed before. It's new to UFC 5. It was never around. Well, it was around as only one time, as like a reversal in UFC 4 where you had to hit the triangle button when they attack you, but you couldn't instigate the Von Flue like this. CY meant to do it. He put the Von Flue in, and it was a reversal. So to do the first Von Flue and do it as a reversal like that, my goodness, that was beautiful. What a great job by CY. Looking past just the submission, though, Weasel, you're right. Gen by Murder did have some really good bright spots in that fight. We know Gen is a very dirty fighter, and when I say dirty, I don't mean it in a salty way. I mean like a grimy, gritty, let's make it very physical. He's staying on top of you. He's clinching you. Dirty boxing, knees from the clinch, looking for slams, not giving you any room to breathe, wants to get you down, rough it up and all that. He was having some really good success against a tough guy at CY until he wasn't. Even when he lost, it was a little technical mistake on the ground that he got reversed by a beautiful technique. It's not like he was getting his ass just kicked and then finished easily. Anyone could get caught in a high level move like that. So not a bad loss for Jen, but a great win for CY. Very impressive. Yep. Well, another impressive performance is two guys that took fight right before. as Nert was able to get a beautiful first round KO over Dynamic Beast. And the impressive thing about this is Nert looked really good. His hands looked absolutely fantastic. And Dynamic Beast, despite being 0-2 in the league so far, he looks like one of these kids that's going to be a talent too.
Right, and I completely agree with everything you just said. Nert was able to bounce back after a tough fight, and he uses crazy combos to overwhelm Beast. Nert is a dangerous addition to the league, man. He's looked strong. His record, I know he's got a loss currently, but he didn't let that, hold him down, as he was just really able to dominate that fight against Beast.
Yeah, well, you say he has a loss already. His first fight was Solanic. So in hindsight, you know what I mean? Solanic,
right.
Solanic finished his second fight in 1 minute. He finished the Nert with 16 seconds left. It was very close to Nert arguably winning that fight. So that loss doesn't hurt him at all. But this win helps him a lot because his hands look so sharp. Once he had Dynamic Beast hurt, he was just on him, and he picked him apart quick and put him away even faster. I mean, Dynamic showed some good things, like he showed good in and out movement. He showed some decent head movement. He's got a couple combos, but ultimately it was just he showed that he was one dimensional. He was just showed a boxing attack, and once he got hurt and there was nowhere to go, he just kind of had to take what was coming his way. If you beat him in boxing, it doesn't seem like he has anywhere to go right now. So he might be one of these young bucks that need to work on, evolving his game a little bit more. But being as young as he is and all that, sky's the limit. Give him time.
Exactly.
Sky's the absolute limit for this kid. But great job by Nert. Salute to him for getting a big win and evening out his record. He'll have a fun fight on the next card, taking on league favorite Pyru.
Oh, that's going to be exciting.
That should be a fun one for sure. Another fun one was the fight that happened just before, as we had a beautiful fight, if you will, between a returning veteran from UFC 4, FX Raw, former fan favorite, if you will. I know I was a big fan of his fighting, as he KO'd a guy that's all about the entertainment, not so much about the the high-level skill set, as he took on Dancing Jimmy. And FX Raw got Jimmy out of there in 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the first round.
Right, FX Raw just did what he was supposed to do. Jimmy out there was putting on a little performance in the cage, but league veteran returning FX Raw was dangerous in UFC 4. It's going to be interesting to get a good gauge on him in his next fight, because this isn't a true gauge of how talented FX Raw actually is.
Well, I knew it was going to happen one day, and I guess today, or well, not today, Saturday night was that day. Jimmy got caught in the middle of a taunt. We know Jimmy's a showman, and he likes to fuck around a little bit, and he fucked around at the wrong time. When we saw the slow motion replay, FX Raw fired off a perfect back leg, rear leg teep kick at the exact moment that Jimmy was starting the "what are we doing here" kind of taunt. he was starting to open his arms and say, "what are we doing here?" And he got kicked right in the chops, and he went down like a ton of bricks, and that was it. Beautiful flash KO for FX Raw. I mean, what more could you ask for a debut than to come in and get a first round KO, flash KO? That's beautiful. Right. Great job by FX Raw. Makes his next fight very exciting, and yeah, great fight.
Right.
Jimmy retired after this too. Another guy that retired. I guess he realized that it wasn't for him. So it was a short run, but salute to Jimmy and his big wiggle. You'll be missed.
Right.
All right. Another guy who had a fantastic debut was the second fight on the whole card. Another highly touted guy from our friends over at the AKA team. Amazon came in looking like the Incredible Hulk, and he put a big knockout on Sir Hypa. And I want to say this. Sir Hypa, despite losing, he looked very sharp at moments. I think this is a fight between two pretty good fighters that just happen to be new to the league. But Amazon, he looked even better as he got the knockout about 4 minutes into the second round.
Yeah, both guys showed a lot of potential. Amazon over there, you mentioned he's from the AKA camp. I know guys are really strong strikers and really well-rounded players. Like I said, Amazon looked in control of much of this match, and earned himself a second round KO and showed a lot of potential. Like he could be one of those fighters that could make a deep run in this league. So good debut by both guys. Sir Hypa, nothing to hang your head on, as Amazon showed um, how good he was. So I think it was, like you said, just two guys who were good players who just happened to meet in the debut.
Yeah, when you make your debut here, you don't know if you're going to fight a guy like Jimmy, no disrespect, but someone who's, here for a fun time, to have some fun fights, or if you're going to run into a guy like an AKA team member like Amazon, who really likes to play and plays to win. So you don't know what you're going to get. Sir Hyper got Amazon, and Amazon proved that he lived up to the hype. He ain't no joke. He came in and won comfortably. Hyper had moments. Hyper looked good. But ultimately, Amazon's aggressive, boxing and just overall ground game mixed up together, it was too much. He put Hyper away bad in the second round, and it'll be interesting to see what he does next.
Yeah, I agree.
So, great fight by both guys. I look to see both of them back. You know how that goes. But I'll tell you what, another fight that was very interesting to me just happened to be the very first fight of the night. It has very similar vibes to the fight before, where you could tell both of these guys know how to fight, and that's why it went to decision, as Odelia gets a win over Cooked in both of their debuts.
Yeah, and I know a lot about Cooked. I've seen big things about him, and it's good to see him join our league. He's from the RK1 friends over there. But Odelia was just able to squeak out a decision win. I think both fighters look strong, and I think it's the exact same case as, like you said, both fighters are really good. They just so happen to meet in their debuts. It would not surprise me to see them meet again further up the card.
Yeah, and you can say that for a lot of these guys. I mean, it's so interesting when you look at the amount of talent that's fighting on the card right now. I mean, the rankings could flip so easy in such a short amount of time with as much movement is going on. Those that are active do the most movement, so it'll be interesting to see where people move around. These guys like Odelia and Amazon, and FX Raw that are all in the league now at 1-0. Who knows? 2 months from now, these could be 5-0 fighters, and the 2-0 guys, same thing in 4 months. Like, this next card that we have coming up reflects that very much. I mean, as good as it was in Montego Bay, the next card we have coming up in Osaka, Japan, and in just a few weeks and a couple Saturdays, Weasel, it has the perfect kind of fights to set this up, where we have a lot of these mid-tier guys that have had the mixed results, myself included, fighting these young up-and-comers, and that should be very interesting to see where the future rankings are going to go from there.
Yeah, and you think this card was an absolute stacked card. This next one is even better. It's like talent everywhere. Big league implications coming up in our next card.
Well, almost out of the top 20, right, fighters and the champion, so 21 fighters really if you count them all. All but 3 in the top 20 and the champion, so 18 of them signed up to compete on this card. So major movement is going to be in the rankings. Almost everybody is going to move in the rankings for sure. And you got all this awesome young talent with good records coming in. I mean, some of the new are going to eat some of the old. Some of the old are going to cling to keep their spot and stay, a top guy with this new wave of talent coming in. It's going to be very interesting times coming up in SVG right now and continued on into the near future. We're putting out more cards not more cards, but more fights than ever. This last card, we just set a record 24 fights. We had done 21 fights the 2 cards previous, and now we've done 24. To start 37, we got 26 booked. Let's see how many people go through with their fights and how many people flop out. But, I mean, yeah, big things going on. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how the contenders can rise and if the championship will change hands. I mentioned earlier that Loganov could, in my opinion, one of the bigger challenges come in Lion's way at this very moment. It's going to be exciting to see that fight. And man, the top 20, it's so tough there. And I can say it for myself. I spent time inside the top 10. But competition is stiff. It's stacked. It's hard to go anywhere. And now with all these up-and-comers, there's going to be some big movement going on.
Yeah, I mean, the top 20 is just nasty, and it has been for a while, and it's going to stay that way for a while. And that's what it looks like anyway. But touching on what you were saying about Rocky and Loganov, that is going to be such an interesting fight. Two former champions, you know, they both know what it takes to be champion. They both know each other's style a little better than some other people might know each other's style, just because of the familiarity. They fought each other a bunch of times. They've sparred a bunch of times. Loganov, a former Team Savage member. He's on with TM now. Rocky still, of course, the leader of Team Savage. Many spars between these guys. And Loganov, right, one of the first champions. I believe actually Loganov was the second champion. So, I mean, that shows you the kid's a pioneer. He would love to join Rocky and be a champion of both the UFC 4 and UFC 5. And he's got his chance. He's got his chance coming up, but Rocky won't give it up easy. Rocky's looked fantastic through the whole time he's been in the card. 6 fights, 6 knockouts, and you know he's going to look, you know he wants to beat anything that Godin's done. He would love to beat those records. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. Weasel, fantastic card coming up in just a few short days on May 25th. And then we got this card done already. SVG WAR 36 in the can. Beautiful card. Great time. I had a blast. I know everybody enjoyed watching it. Any final thoughts on the card?
Yeah, it was an absolutely beautiful card. This really set up some big things moving forward for the league, so it's going to be exciting. So stick around and thank you to all the supporters, everybody who's been tuning in and watching all their fights, and big things coming.
Yeah, we do appreciate that. We appreciate everyone that tunes in to watch on YouTube, on the TikTok platforms, on all that stuff. Thank you for all the likes, all the comments, all the just good energy. We're trying to put it back and put on fun fights for everyone, so we hope you enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun doing these cards, you know, going all over the world to Jamaica and now going to Japan. It'll be a lot of fun, but it's been a blast, all jokes aside, and I can't wait to keep going and building up these great fights. So great card. Can't wait for the next one. Weasel, as always, it was a pleasure. I'm the great M. Jada, the commissioner of the SVG League. Joining me was SVG analyst, the Weasel, and we are out of here. Say goodbye to the people, Weasel.
Peace, everybody. Have a safe couple weeks.
Take care, everyone.